is Rector. This is Jessica Fox, and we are MAPS coaches. And we've been in leadership at KW for quite some time and coaching for quite some time. We've collectively recruited over 5,000 agents. So recruiting is our passion. And we're going to share some things with you today about recruiting with the MREA and going through some of those things. So that's what we're going to talk about on how to use the models and systems as a staple, to have, conversations with recruits, cappers, megas, and how you have something tangible, to recruit them to with the MREA. So with that, Jessica, what would you like to add?
Well, I was going to say that the skill of getting confidence around bringing in the MREA as part of your conversation is going to be the difference between you guys being by referral and by cold calling. And many of us, when we're evolving as team leaders, we almost do more of a presentation or a listing presentation than a needs analysis and an actual kind of recruiting conversation. So just know wherever you're at in the scale is okay. And yet, if you lean into this year one as a team leader or today, this will make your life so much easier, because this is what makes you special. Here's the truth. Let's just say I'm any R2 out there that might be on Heatseeker or wherever, and I am looking around. I'm definitely leaving my brokerage. I may not know where I'm going. This is the secret sauce you have, because if I'm getting offers from XYZ Realty, EXP, Compass, whoever, I'm getting a lot of different things thrown at me. This is what makes us special, makes you special, and will ultimately make your offer one that'll trump everyone, regardless of what they offer in terms of cash or terms or commission split. So this is it. So we're gonna roll this in, and as many questions as you guys have, please dive in with us today, because this is where you get a lot of confidence and swagger as a team leader, and recruiting is fun and easy. So lean in this if you're not.
Yeah. So really, why is that? Why is this book? Why are these models and systems? Why is this to give you the competitive edge as a leader against all these other brands? Because this is the foundational models or training to help any real estate agent build a business, whether they're already a top producer or not. How this book was created is Gary and his team went out and interviewed the top real estate agents, not brand specific, anybody that was a mega agent in our industry, and went through and dissected their business. And there was common denominators of all the top producers, which basically is where these models were created, is what the top people in real estate were doing that were making $1 million in real estate. And that was a lot of money, back when this book was written. And all of the things that these people were doing, again, were the same pretty much. And so that's how this book was created. And the 4 models are the economic. So what the economic model that we're going to get into does is it creates predictability, because the economic numbers that are in the economic model, right, are averages among real estate agents. So literally, yeah.
Rich, it's worth mentioning that at other brokerages, if you haven't been at one, I've been at several, they don't talk about any of this. It's never brought up in their business planning clinic. It's nothing to this level. So this is news to most top agents that are elsewhere. So, they don't have access to this information. So even just seeing some of the best practices to them is very interesting. So you're the person that's going to be able to deliver that. And this is likely information they've never seen or heard before.
Yep. So again, like Jessica said, if you're newer to the role, you need some confidence. This gives you the ammunition to compete against anybody. So you got the economic lead generation budget, organizational model, and now there's the expansion model. So literally anybody at any level of production, whether they're a solo agent or somebody that wants to move into expansion because they have a team, it's all laid out. Right. And it's not just theory. These are the models and the things that the top people in those spaces are using and doing. Okay. So the key thing in the MREA is that we want agents to think like millionaire real estate agents, like running a millionaire real estate agent business, running a predictable business. Now, I'm in California, and our price points create challenges for realtors. Why is that? Because if our average price, like in one of my markets, is over $1 million, you don't have to sell a lot of houses to make a decent living. That's a benefit and a curse. It's a curse because it causes people not to have to create models and systems and just wing it. And so when you take somebody that gets the fact that if you have a business model that you can follow in a market like mine, you can dominate, and you can make, literally $1 million plus if you followed a business model versus just winging it. So, you want people to think like millionaires, and we do that by sharing these best practices in the MREA. We want them to have big goals, right? These models, again, don't outgrow anybody, right? I mean, Sarah Reynolds is probably the top agent, in our company, right? If you saw her speak at Family Reunion, I went to one of her sessions, and she follows these models. She doesn't wing it, right? There's a reason why she did $1 billion with a B, right, in transactions in the last 12 months, and it wasn't because she winged it, right? It's because she's
Right.
following these organizational models, the expansion models, and so on.
Well, and top agents, the ones that you really want to attract, are big thinkers. They're business minded. And so the MREA is not only getting them to think and be around other big thinkers that are sharing information, sharing best practices. They love that type of environment. And when they see what you guys have to offer, all of a sudden their world that they're in kind of looks small. So, big people like to play with big thinkers. And if you look at even just the big why, we say don't recruit or present, do a needs analysis. We want to learn about these folks and understand what makes them tick so that our relationship and our conversations are at a whole nother level. And again, that just it's where it all begins. Is how we get them to think.
Yeah. So, how you think is really, again, if you're at Family Reunion, we had Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins. It was all about how you think, right? And so this gives you the ability to get people to have a big why, to have big models, to think about value and customer service and the experience that your consumers have. It just competitively and strategically to think big around those things, to think about action and accountability, which is what Tony and Mel talked about, right? Think about talent, right? Gary always says that in a shifting market, that's when the real talent shows up. Systems, right? Running any successful business, you have to have a system. You can't wing it. Having standards for your business, knowledge and skills, persistence, resilient, and then the most important thing in running a business is profit. Again, like Jessica said, these aren't things that they talk about at the other brokerages, right? They just talk about, hey, go hold an open house and that kind of stuff. They don't talk about all of these things. And if you get people to think bigger than they're thinking now, which is not difficult when you have all the resources we have, they're attracted to you. It creates validity because you're asking bigger questions and getting them to think bigger, if that makes sense. Okay, so we want them to think like a millionaire real estate agent. We talked about the big why, the big models, and accountability, and the importance of that. Let's dive into what some of these models are. And again, if you haven't read the MREA or it's been a while, it's time to dust that off and go through it again so that you understand it and how to explain it. One of the best ways for me to learn that I learned the MREA is the business planning clinic. That's on my KW. There's PowerPoint slides, and I would teach it in the market center. I taught it in January, and it caused me to learn how to present these models because that's what it is, right? And when you do that, you're almost the smartest person in the room, even if you started a month ago. So
Well, and I would add on to that, if you go to Keller Inc., KellerINK.com, and download the book club workbook, it's like a whole workshop. all the questions you need and all the coaching notes you need are in there. And I just added the 24 topics because, Rich, that's how I felt like I mastered it, is I taught 24 topics. Run a book club and teach 24 topics, and you will be able to communicate very comfortably around all the models in whatever environment you're in. Definitely.
Yeah. So, this is a graphic. Economic is understanding the numbers to hit your goal. Lead generation is prospecting and marketing enhanced. Budget is lead with revenue, red light, green light, right? Not spending more than you're making and have an ROI on your expenses. And then organization model, which is leverage, right? So these are a couple good things that are in the book, the models, graphics in the book that will help you get clarity. And when you can show a recruit these models visually, again, it's powerful because they're like, wow, I've never seen this. Oh, wow, this is an organized thing. This isn't something that he or she's just saying. Wow, look at all these numbers and all these things that are under each of these bubbles. This is a system, right? All right. So the economic model, I love this because you could use this on, and you should use this almost on every recruiting appointment, because think about this. When you're taking somebody through the needs analysis and they tell you their goal is 200,000, right? And they're making 100, their goal is 200,000, and you go through the big why and you go through the needs analysis. Do you think that they know what to do to create that additional $100,000? If you could literally show them the visuals here, where all we have to do is plug in that number of what they want to make, and then do the math with the different ratios that are provided, it will tell you and tell them how many appointments they have to have a month. And now you can focus on, and they can focus, and they get clarity around, wow, this makes my job seem a lot easier than it is, because we just have to create a plan on how to get, one seller appointment and one buyer appointment a month, or two buyer appointments and one seller appointment, depending on what their goal is. And it's all just laid out. And whenever I present this to agents, they're relieved on how simple and easy it looks to hit their goal, because the numbers don't lie, and it lays out exactly what they have to do.
It makes it obtainable, but you know what I'll tell you, from when you're in the moment, either a coaching or recruiting moment, the truth is you often have their numbers, but they often aren't really sharing the truth about their numbers. So what I love about this is you can just run it as if they wanted 1 million and say, I know you don't necessarily aren't shooting for 1 million, and yet we can dial this back to meet your business goals. And that's a way to actually use this tool and put it in front of them. So teach it like it's there. It even has the numbers in the example for you of 1 million, and then they can translate that to their own personal goal. The truth is, though, when you slide this in front of someone, so I added in the chat some of the PDFs that I had when I was at a recruiting appointment. I would show it in the book, show the model, talk about the model, and then I give them that worksheet for themselves. And when they got that, they officially probably got more from me from the business aspect of their business than anyone else in their world, including their manager, their mentor, and their CPA combined. So just remember, if you're not using these tools, you're just missing out big time.
Yeah. And one of the things that I did on the recent business planning clinic in January is I ran 3 scenarios and did the math ahead of time and printed them out so that they can have them. So here's $100,000, what you have to do. Here's 300. Here's 500, and here's 1 million. So I got something that's relatable to everybody, that they can see, they can touch, they can hold, and then we give them the blank sheet like Jeff was talking about, and then they can put in their own numbers. And now it becomes easy, because it's now all we need to do is solve that problem of how do you get 2 listing presentations a month and 2 buyer presentations a month. That's our only job for you to hit 300,000 in that example, right? And they get really empowered by that. Then it comes into, right, what we just talked about. How do we do that? How do I get the leads? What do I have to do to get that amount of appointments per month to hit my goal? And again, this is another great graphic that blows people's mind, because it's like, you know, haven't mets and mets. What is that? Oh yeah, we have metrics for how many times you have to talk to somebody that you don't know and how many times you have to talk to somebody that you do know to get a result, right? And they're like blown away. And then we have another chart that shows who's a haven't met, you know, who's a met, what are the lead sources, you know, that you can tap into for haven't mets. And it's all laid out, and people are like, oh my gosh, I don't have to bang my head against the wall. It's all laid out for me. And it really, it puts you in a great position with just this one tool, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book.
Well, and if they're at a more traditional brokerage, this is news to them, but this is freedom. This is freedom, and they realize they're in a real dependent model when they're not aware of this. So something to think about.
Yeah. You know, so I mean, I only have to do a, you know, 33 or 36 touch. I only have to, I put up neighborhood nurtures. I put them into command. This is all I have to do to really, you know, get these touches out there to create these interactions that are going to create my leads that I need for the appointments to hit my goal, right?
So this is again all from the book, and yet look at all the props you guys have now with the database assessment book. And I don't know if you noticed at Family Reunion how they have those placards that you can now use in a conversation. So you really have everything at your fingertips that you could possibly need.
Yeah. Lead gen, you know, model again, you know, you're talking about 8x8, 36 touch, you know, the ratio of 12 to 2, 12 direct. So 50 to 1 ratio for have not mets, you know, 12 to 2 or 10% we used to use for have mets. And it blows people away. What does that mean? That means, you know, if you have a database of 300 people and you're following this model, where you're doing a 36 touch and you're following it the right way and you're calling them once a quarter and doing the things it says in the book, that you should get a 10% return. It's the same 12 to 2, which is even better than that. Let's say 10% return, which is what it used to be. That's 30 transactions a year, whether it's repeat or referral, coming from that database. That blows people's mind because they're only getting about 1 to 2% return as an industry average. So you've just literally potentially tripled, quadrupled their business from that one source, which is where most agents in our industry get their income, and that's their sphere of influence and past clients.
Can we back up one slide? We've got a couple of people asking to just back up one slide before this, Rich.
Sure.
Yeah. So this is, and these are all visuals that you can download at kellerinc.com. Just click on the MREA book, and every one of these images are available for you to download.
Yeah.
And, you know, as we go along, I'll throw some of the PDFs that you might actually use as, you know, pen to paper kind of interaction.
Yeah, and we, you know, we should do this next time is put the page numbers on these so that way, you know, oh yeah, in the book it's page 48 or whatever.
Look at this. I don't know if you can see my book, but this thing has been through war and back, you know, 18 years of recruiting, but I have everything tabbed so I can just go like right to it. You know exactly what page to go to then.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have a teacher's edition too that has all the different tabs of what something you're looking for, a question.
I need an upgrade. I need an upgrade, right? So this is my favorite model, and I never thought I'd say this, but this is my model that I think of when I think of my mother in real estate and her business. My mom won all the awards and got all the prizes, and yet I always remember a lot of IRS bills coming to our house. So, you know, we put when we joined KW as a family, what was so cool is we were able to put the business in my mom's business, which was a money maker, but not a profit maker. And so to me, this is the most important model for someone that you're interacting with that might be in that world, because it's teaching them about how to chase profit, not production. You know, you don't want production awards, you want profit for the life you desire. And even just putting this in front of someone and saying, you know, this is what's possible for you and your business. How are you doing? And instead of trying to double your sales next year, what if we fine tune how you're running your business so that you make double the profit with the work you're already doing? And, you know, when you can get someone there, that you change worlds right here, you guys. And just imagine if you've met with me, I'm not quite ready to make a move, but you've introduced me to the lead generation model or something. And now you've gotten into the economic or budget. I look at you as a totally different person than the manager or mentor that I'm working with at my current brokerage, because you're giving me insight to so much. So just remember, as a team leader, when you really dig into this, it's like getting an MBA in real estate. It really is, you guys. And if you can just translate this and connect people to this, it's their own work to go to their own classes and all that, but this will really change lives.
Yep. And this is another model, like you said, that you can show the chart of accounts where it shows how much you should be spending on advertising, on all these different categories. And most agents have no clue because they're not tracking expenses. They don't even know what to track it against. And you have all of this. So you're the smartest person. Oh, you should only be spending 12% on this category. How much are you spending? I have no clue, right? One of the things that's interesting, and we'll talk about that maybe on the next model, which is the organizational. But when I was, before I came to Keller Williams, I was coaching for a very large company that worked with a lot of top real estate agents. And one of the things that we talked about all the time among the coaches was how all these, millionaire GCI real estate agents had no money at the end of the day. Their GCI was 1.2 and their take home was like 120,000. And it's because they were focused on, like Jessica said, making it rain. Let's get the business, let's get the, transactions, but nobody's paying attention because there's no models to follow on what's your budget? What should you be spending? Are you getting a return on the investment for all these dollars that you're spending on advertising or leads or whatever, right? So again, this makes you the smartest person in the room when you can show them the chart of accounts. And then the organizational model shows people what is possible for them, right? Whether if they're a solo agent, that's okay, but at least it shows them that they're not going to hit a ceiling with us. They're not going to hit a ceiling of growth because, I don't have to tell you, we've got thousands of agents in our company that have teams. And a lot of people that have expanded in other markets. So we have a model for that on how to do that. Who's your first hire, your administrative assistant, and why? And then what you should pay the buyer's agent and the lead coordinator, all this kind of stuff, right? And how you build a team systematically, not because we just came up with some, great artwork, because we've, interviewed and dissected the top people in real estate and how they did this, right?
So let's just say I'm trying to recruit Rich back to that model. I'm going to show him the model and I'm going to say, one of the cool things, Rich, as team leader, I'm going to help you talent scout. I'm going to introduce you to some classes to go to. We're going to do your KPA and I'm going to teach you a process so that we can identify talent that's meant to be on a team long-term or meant to be a specialist on a team that you might build. And remember, as team leaders, if we're helping our agents connect with other opportunities, we are irreplaceable. I mean, they have to move to join because they can't get that type of help where they're at. And some of you have K-score and K-prep and licensing lists and all this to bring in those new talents to the industry. So when you can start getting to that level with people, they really can't afford not to be with you. And a cap is a joke to them because they would have had to pay others to get that type of recruiting for their team. So just remember, this is a gateway to really big indies coming over, big teams coming over, because they just don't have any help here.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so the playbooks. You guys have seen all these, right? Want to leverage those playbooks as well. We have the new MREA playbook that came out, late last year.
We do want to remind you though, if you're like me, I download stuff and I save them on my desktop. Delete everything right now and start going to Connect Direct, because they're on like version 6 and version 8 of many of these playbooks. They've fine-tuned them. They've added more detail. And even in some cases, they've added like little mini step-by-steps on how to do it in Command. So just if you have older playbooks, just make a new habit of going to Connect and getting the latest and greatest so you're passing along the best.
Yes, for sure. And then one thing I also wanted to mention on that previous slide that you were talking about with the organizational model, one of the best kept secrets that we have in our company is our fast track programs. We have great, you should go to MAPS Fast Track and look at all the programs. We have programs that are like $99 a month, $199 a month that are taught by some of the top people in our company that teach this model, teach the MREA, teach about the organizational model, teach about lead generation. So if you're talking to somebody and you know that we have that resource and they want to build a team, that's another thing you can pull out of your hat. And that is, look at this program that we have that's ongoing throughout the year that you can plug into, that's going to be led by one of the top teams in our company to teach you how to do this, as well as the Red Book. And that might be something that you even put on their transition plan if they're a Kappa or a Mega, where you pay for that, for 90 days, because they're 90-day programs. So anyhow, okay, here's a hot topic. Go ahead, Jess.
I got a couple of people asking, where's that program? I just put it in the chat. And if you go there, there's pages of programs. So if someone wants off-market listings, or someone who wants to know how to build a team, or someone wants to take Rockstar Recruiting with us, it's all right there. So just go check that out and start using that as a resource, not only to help your own agents that you already have, but those that you're bringing in, because then it's off you. It's not your responsibility to help them build a team. It's your responsibility to connect them to the resource, right?
Yeah. All right. You want to talk about this hot off the press that we've just created this week?
Yes. So one of the things Rich and I do with my recruiting collective is we have a killer gift every month. And so this month's gift is that we took kind of the best of Gary Keller, Fam Reunion, the major talking points about the market, and the one-page models that were shared. And we've made it a book that not only you can use to share with your own agents, but to recruit with, and also to revive your pipeline with, because it's really good stuff. This is great resources to give someone or get someone to have a conversation with you as a giveaway. And frankly, you're just going to make you stand out from everyone else around you. So we have that book available. And what would you add to that, Rich?
Yeah, I would just add, remember, one of your best tactics right now is the post-family reunion conversation you're having with recruits, and you're going to be able to use that for, the next month or so. And that's just, hey, I just got back, from Las Vegas, where I was with 18,000 of the top agents in North America sharing strategies, tactics. We had keynote speakers, Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, top economists talking about the market. I'd love to get together and share with you some of these tactics and strategies. And then you could say, as a special thank you for getting together, we've put together a 2024 real estate market predictions playbook for you to share with you some of the great insights that were shared last week in Las Vegas, right? And
don't you just wish you could just read Rich and have him talk for you all day? He's so great at that. Here's the thing, you guys, this is a difference maker again, to show how we're different. No manager at any other brokerage has anything to pull out like this right now, you guys. So take advantage of what you have, because right now, this is where we just grab people. We just bring them in and bring them home to KW, because they're looking for ideas, solutions, resources, things to do. They're anxious and no one's helping them right now. So again, get in front of people, even if they're not getting in front of you. And that's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, profit share is something that's near and dear to my heart. Rich and I both are some of the top profit share earners in the country. I've made over $500,000 in profit share. And so just one thing I want to just add to all of you, you're in a really special place being a team leader, because you have a huge opportunity to build a very robust downline. And I just want you to know, as a team leader, again, I'm actually 580 some thousand in profit share. I only have 22 people in my first line. And so are you really, as a team leader, really capitalizing on profit share and thinking about it for your own self, but also as the attractor that it is? Sometimes we get kind of burnt out on profit share. Profit share is not all that exciting anymore. Well, it's really exciting again. And so not only for yourself, you're in a huge opportunity role for your own family's wealth, but it is a big deal for agents outside to know that they could get part of the profit. If they're at a traditional brokerage, that's not even an option ever. They're given zero opportunity. So profit share is like treating them like a partner. And, there's so many people at brokerages that is just not something that'll ever be. So this is just, even the ability to do it is something that attracts a very strong entrepreneur. And so remember, profit share should not be just kind of over, brushed over. You're going to get a lot of people, especially like indies and big brokerages, to look at you just simply for the fact that they could get profit share from their whole
Yeah.
group that they bring.
Absolutely. And you want to make sure you're teaching profit share and you're talking about it. And again, everybody has to have a sponsor. So they have to go under somebody. Why not you, Mr. and Mrs. AOC member or top 20% member, right? So, take advantage of that. That's another great tool that we have. Okay, as we wrap up here, we have our fast track program, Rockstar Recruiting, that is going to be launching May 16th, right after we have the leadership mega camp in Round Rock, Texas. It's going to be the week right after that. So it's going to be a great time, a lot of momentum going into that second half of the year to capitalize on the recruiting, level up your recruiting and the movement that we're going to be seeing, and we already are seeing. So there's a QR code if you want more information on that, want to register. And it's a 90-day program. We do a weekly 1-hour live call like this where we dissect specific topics from the needs analysis to appointment setting, objection handling. We go through hacks with Heatseeker, broker metrics, and a lot of things as well.
We also bring up recruiting teams and help you formulate what that would look like for that more passive recruiting that you need done around you, as well as give you a lot of hacks around Indeed ads and things that might get you some more leads. So we'd love to have you.
So any questions before we wrap up? We really appreciate you being here today. And if you need anything, let us know. You got access to the playbook that we just talked about and anything that you need. Any questions in the chat, Jess, before we wrap up?
I think we're good. Here's the challenge I'm going to give you guys. If you don't have any of this worked into what your current flow is, go download the information you need so that you can start. And it's best to start on your own agents and coaching and consulting because you'll feel very confident and comfortable doing it in any situation.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. Make it a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.